Hi guys, today I'm going to explain what are the stages of meiosis. You all know that mitosis has 4 phases, starting with prophase, and then metaphase, then anaphase, then telophase. In meiosis, we're going to see a little bit of difference. Actually, meiosis has 2 parts. It has meiosis 1 and meiosis 2, and this is what's different from mitosis. Mitosis has only 1 part. Recall that homologous chromosomes have the same genes but are not exact copies of each other. So keep this in mind. You have to remember what are homologous chromosomes. Now, of course, before meiosis 1 begins, each chromosome is duplicated and each half is called a chromatid. This is exactly what happens also before mitosis, if you remember. So before mitosis, in interphase, we have duplication of chromosomes. Same thing will happen before meiosis. During interphase, at the end of interphase, we're going to see that the chromosomes are going to duplicate. And of course, the chromatids are connected by centromeres. And then during meiosis 1, pairs of homologous chromosomes and sex chromosomes split apart into 2 new cells. We're going to see what does this mean. If I start with meiosis 1, of course we're going to go with the same phases as mitosis, but with a little bit of difference. In prophase 1 of meiosis 1, you're going to see something that doesn't happen in mitosis, which is the duplicated homologous chromosomes pair up. So I'm going to assume that I have 4 chromosomes in this cell. It means I have 2 pairs of homologous chromosomes. So I can see that the 2 pairs are, we say they are pairing up. They are combining together to form tetrads. We call them tetrads. It means 2 pairs of chromosome. And then in metaphase 1, the homologous chromosome pairs line up in the middle of the cell. So it's similar to metaphase of mitosis, but instead of having 4 chromosomes lining in the middle of the cell next to each other, I can see the lining up of the pairs of homologous chromosome. And then also, like the anaphase of mitosis, I can see in anaphase 1 of meiosis that the homologous pairs are separating from their partners and move to opposite poles. And then you can see in telophase 1 and cytokinesis, I'm going to see the appearance of 2 cells. Each one is containing 2 chromosomes, and each chromosome is still made up of 2 chromatids joined by a centromere. So this is a difference between mitosis and meiosis. The end product of mitosis is 2 cells identical to the mother cell, while in meiosis I have 2 parts. In part 1, at the end of part 1 of meiosis, I'm going to see 2 cells, and each cell contains half the amount of chromosomes of the mother cell. And then we're going to continue with meiosis 2, that involves both of the new cells that formed during meiosis 1. Let's start with the first phase. So this is prophase 2. Same thing now is happening as mitosis. Of course, you know that in prophase I'm going to have the fading of a nuclear membrane and the condensation of chromosomes, so I can see them, they become visible. And then in metaphase 2 of meiosis, it's very similar now to metaphase of mitosis. You can see the lining up of chromosomes in the middle of the cells, but here of course I have 2 cells undergoing metaphase 2. And then in anaphase 2, the chromatids of chromosomes separate toward opposite poles. And then in telophase 2, this is the end product of telophase 2, I have 4 cells or 4 gametes. These are the gametes or the sex cells. Look at this. I have half the amount of chromosome in each cell. I started with 1 cell containing 4 chromosomes. I ended up with 4 cells containing 2 chromosomes. So you see how meiosis will lead to the formation of cells that contain half the amount of chromosomes. So how does meiosis compare to mitosis? Only cells that will become sex cells, of course, undergo meiosis. All other cells divide by mitosis. This is difference number one. In meiosis, chromosomes are copied once and the nucleus divides twice, while in mitosis, the chromosomes are also copied once, but the nucleus divides once. Since I have meiosis 1 and meiosis 2, I say that the nucleus divides twice. But in mitosis, I just have one division of nucleus. Meiosis produces haploid cells or gametes or sex cells, while mitosis produces diploid cell. This is a haploid cell, this is a diploid cell. At the end, I'm just going to mention one abnormality that can occur in a human being that is called Down syndrome. So I don't know if you've heard about it. Down syndrome, or what is called trisomy 21, is a genetic disease caused by an error during meiosis. So one of the abnormalities that can form after something wrong happens with meiosis is Down syndrome. So the chromatids in chromosome 21 do not separate during meiosis, so one of the sex cells at the end will get an extra copy of chromosome 21. So after fertilization, let's say this gamete having one more chromosome 21, after fertilization of this sex cell with another sex cell, I will get an offspring that has 3 copies of chromosome 21 or 3 chromosome 21. So Down syndrome causes a number of health problems and learning difficulties, but many people with Down syndrome have fulfilling lives. So it doesn't affect their lives, but of course they have different features in their face, in their hands, in their body, and a little bit of mental retardation. And this is due to the presence of 3 chromosome 21 instead of 2.